This is Extra Paycheck Podcast, episode number 168.
You're listening to Extra Paycheck Podcast, where you will learn how to build and grow your own successful online business. Now, here's your host, Alex Soul.
Welcome to yet another episode of the Extra Paycheck Podcast. This is episode number 168, and today's special guest is Jake Jorgovan. He's the founder and owner of Lead Cookie, a done-for-you LinkedIn lead generation and prospecting service. Really cool episode ahead of you, so enjoy today's show. Hi, Jake, and welcome to the Extra Paycheck Podcast.
Thanks for having me on here, Alex.
Jake, please tell us a little bit more about yourself and what is that you do as a business.
Yeah, so I am the founder of Lead Cookie. We are a done-for-you LinkedIn prospecting service. So basically, we manage people's LinkedIn accounts and start warm conversations between them and their ideal customers.
I like those very short descriptions for businesses such as yours. But let's get a little bit more in detail and have you elaborate on that. You know, we all, well, not all, but many of us have LinkedIn accounts. And you just touched something that I'd bet a lot of people don't even know about. Like you said, you're managing accounts and helping people find other people. Like, what exactly is that and why people need that service?
Yeah, so it's really simple, and I'm happy to even just share like exactly what we do to generate leads, because the value of our service and the fact is that we're a done-for-you service, so we save people a ton of time. But what we do is really simple, and it's things that anyone can do on their own to start generating leads and sales on LinkedIn. But basically, you know, at the high level, and I'm happy to go as deep as you want, but at the high level, it's about getting your profile optimized to where that's going to, intrigue people, get them ready to convert. It's about going and sending connection requests and trying to start conversations with your ideal customers on LinkedIn. And then the last piece of it is just kind of, using some tactics to ramp up traffic and get more people to your LinkedIn profile. So that's literally what our service is, and I'm happy to go as deep into those as you want. But it's something that, these are tactics you can use on your own, or, we built a service because for a lot of people, they just don't have time to actually do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds very interesting. And once again, why it's so interesting to me personally is because I have never really gotten into LinkedIn as a tool to do anything else but simply connect with others, just like having another, I don't even know how to put like a phone number or, a Facebook account. So I never really looked into it business wise, and I never, paid a lot of attention to using it as a sales platform or a platform to, as you mentioned, generate leads. Yeah. So that's something. Do you think a lot of people are also overlooking that aspect of LinkedIn and the possibilities of that platform?
Yeah, if you are in your business's B2B sales, and you do anything where you are directly selling to businesses, like LinkedIn is the place to be. It's not the place if you're trying to make a business that's trying to gather consumers or just the general audience. It's not there. But if you are in B2B, it is 100 times more powerful than Facebook or Twitter or Instagram for just kind of those B2B kind of selling to other companies aspect.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. And Jake, how did you get that initial idea at the very beginning when you started Lead Cookie?
Yeah, so prior to this, basically I had previously owned another business where I ran an agency, and I was kind of the head of sales and marketing, while my business partner was kind of the creative genius of the company. And after that, I basically got into kind of doing sales consulting and marketing consulting for other agencies. And I was always kind of just, intrigued at this. I was always just looking, how do you get more customers? That's kind of been a focus of my career for people. And at some point in time, I started to realize, it's like, okay, LinkedIn I'm getting customers off of this for my consulting business, and I'm not even putting that much effort into it, just kind of like logging in and commenting or posting stuff every once in a while, and somehow it leads to new business. So I kept realizing that, so I decided, I was like, what would happen if I actually got really serious and I tried to learn everything I could and just like master LinkedIn? And so I went out and I researched all the thought leaders like Josh Turner and John Nemo and people out there that were putting out this content about LinkedIn and these tactics. And I started using them on my own profile. And within the first month, I had booked 11 phone calls, and I had about another 19 leads that I was still working. And by the time we got into the second month, I'd actually closed 3 deals out of those calls. So I was just like really blown away by like the fast results that this generated for my business. And that's kind of when the idea, like it was just like LinkedIn marketing agency was the initial idea that I wrote down. And then it kind of evolved there into what has kind of become this productized service now at this point.
That's very interesting. And when did you actually start Lead Cookie? Like from that idea that you wrote down to actually, launching it and helping people get those leads. When did that happen?
Yeah, so July 15th is the first day that I started reaching out and pitching people through email. And it was probably about a 3-week, I guess it was probably a couple months before that I started experimenting with LinkedIn. And then it was probably about a 3-week period from whenever I kind of said, hey, I'm ready to start another business. And I came up with some ideas to whenever we actually started pitching Lead Cookie. So from idea to actually starting to sell it happened really, really quickly. And in the first week, got up to $5,000 monthly recurring revenue. I think we were at $12,000 monthly recurring revenue within a month because I basically just sold this to people that I knew, people in my network already, and just literally just started off there and kind of built the foundation from on top of that.
Yeah, that's very awesome, and I love the sound of that recurring revenue.
It's that was kind of like I said, whenever I had the idea for LinkedIn marketing agency, I had a handful of other business ideas at the same time. And, the recurring aspect of it was something that I definitely wanted in this business, as my previous business that I had scaled up did not have recurring. And it was rough. So recurring revenue is a really wonderful thing to have.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because you could at least somewhat predict the future of your company and, your income. You could kind of plan out what it's going to be. Of course, there are people that will opt out eventually, but at least for a certain period of time, what kind of money is going to be rolling in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it takes a while to understand what your churn rate will be and everything, or how much you'll retain people each month. But over time, we've gotten to understand what percentage that is so we can know how many people we will expect to cancel in a month, just because we are a marketing and a lead generation tactic. People don't stick with us forever, as much as I'd love them to, but we're not as sticky as like a support service or kind of something that you need core to operate your business. Some people just want to get some leads and then they're good and they go work them for a while. So, but we've gotten better at that, and we know what our retention rates are, so we can kind of anticipate what the revenue is, and we get pretty good with our predictions there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds great. And Jake, you said that your initial clients were people in your network and people that you knew. And are you talking about your personal network or your LinkedIn network?
Yeah, so these were mostly people in my personal network. So I had been, like I said, consulting in sales and marketing for a while for agency owners. And so I'd been doing this for a few years, and fortunately, one of the things, and I kept a CRM throughout all of that. And so literally every sales call and conversation I had had for the past 3 to 4 years, all of those are in a CRM. And so the beautiful thing about that is whenever I now have this new offer, I can just go back to my entire network and basically just pitch them all on this offer. Or basically what I did is I had, I think, 370 people that I had some sort of sales conversation with in the past couple of years. And I just started going through and I said, okay, do I think they'd be a good fit? Let's reach out to them. Do I think they'd be a good fit? Let's reach out to them. And that's where all of that first business came from. And so that's something that, just huge benefit of just keeping a track of your network and people you talk to in some sort of CRM there. It pays off in moments like that.
Yeah, that's a really good suggestion and a good strategy. And do you think that someone who's starting a business, let's say, and also B2B business, right, but they don't have your kind of experience and they haven't done sales or worked in the industry at all in the past, do you think it'll be much harder for them to start getting clients?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to either build that network or to start off if you can't sell your services to someone you know, then it's going to be almost impossible for you to sell to someone you don't know. And so, that's, I think, a mistake some entrepreneurs, and some mistakes I made early on. In some of my previous businesses, like it sounds great where, things are at now, but there's 10 years of failure leading up to this. And so the points where I look at where I failed in the past is whenever I was like, all right, I'm going to go, and I tried to focus on like the real estate industry at one point. I tried to focus on like the physical therapy industry, and I honestly didn't know much about them. And I was just like, I'll learn and it's cool, but like you're kind of faking it. And so I think it's important to like find your people, whoever you know about, and sell to them, and not try to just like be opportunistic and chase after something because it looks like a better industry or more profitable or something. Like go where your actual experience or network or passion is.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. And actually, I know quite a few accountants who are, I guess, okay at their job, but the main reason they decided to become accountants because they heard somewhere that, the money is great and you could start your own firm eventually and get all these clients and become a millionaire. The problem is that these people don't see or didn't realize is that you need to really love what you do. You need to love that accounting in order to be able to grow it into your own firm, in my opinion. Because, if you do accounting for clients, and you work for some firm and you hate every single day of your life, certainly you aren't going to try to start your own firm, right? I mean, to me, it's just logical.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's, most of the failed businesses I've had in the past were because I tried to be opportunistic as opposed to going where, I was just more naturally led and focusing on the problems that I was fixing for myself and everything. So, I definitely agree with that.
Mm-hmm. And, okay, so you said before you started your own company, before you started Lead Cookie, you consulted for a lot of other companies in the marketing and sales departments, right? And did you consult for them? Did you also use LinkedIn to help them get more leads, or was it more general marketing and sales?
Yeah, so what I was mainly doing was focusing on just kind of more of a holistic sales and marketing strategy for businesses. And because what I found is that, and this is kind of a core belief that I have, but there's so many marketers out there who will sell you and say, hey, Facebook ads, like they're the solution. And like as a marketer, they're going to sell you that Facebook ads is the solution and the best thing in the world. But like I just see so many businesses go down the wrong route where they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to host webinars or something, or I'm going to do Facebook ads, or I'm going to do Google AdWords, or I'm going to invest in content. And they're investing in like all the wrong tactics for their type of business. And so I was really focused for a long time on just saying like, okay, like let's step back. Let's look at this holistically. Let's brainstorm all the tactics we could do and build a plan of what are the actual right tactics. Because marketers are really good at making you believe their thing's the great thing, and a lot of them will just sell anyone on their courses or their products, but that may not be what people actually need. And so my consulting was really focused around that kind of high level, like what are the options, and then kind of like doing these really kind of customized campaigns with people focused where my expertise was mostly around the outbound piece where I'd help them there, but would also kind of do that holistic approach and again, try to refer them or pair them with other agencies. So I was doing that for about 4 years, and it was good and stable. And it was basically the kind of point where I came up with the Lead Cookie was when I just knew I was ready to try to scale something beyond just me consulting again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. And I think you mentioned a really important point here, because we have quite a few like big name marketers and entrepreneurs who say that you need to be everywhere. You need to be doing completely everything, just like you said, Google ads and webinars and Facebook and Instagram and every other platform you could possibly imagine. And then there's the other half, right, of the people that say, no, you have to do what you do best, or you have to go after the platforms where your audience is. You can't, you can't accommodate everyone, and you can't be a perfect fit for everyone.
Yeah, and that's and I think like there's just so much noise out there in marketing and so many things where, you know, it's sexy on a podcast to talk about a tactic and give away like the perfect tools and tricks, and everyone's just running around from like tactic to tactic. But if you're really trying to look and figure out how to grow your business, it's like brainstorm all of the tactics, like write down all of your ideas for marketing, and then pick like 1 or 2 or 3 to go all in on and try them out. And if they don't work, and then try something else until you find something that works, and then you keep doing it. And so just kind of that holistic approach and just stepping back is something that I think that there's just too much noise in the marketing world that sends people in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Jake, what do you do as marketing for Lead Cookie?
Yeah, so for Lead Cookie, we've got a handful of different channels that are working very well for us. Referral partners is one that's been really great just because I've built myself up as a thought leader. So I have a lot of people with audiences who have brought me on their podcasts or their webinars, to where I've kind of done things where they send their customers our way. I've got a lot of like, we are lead generation. So there's a lot of branding and positioning consultants who are ahead of us. You know, like they get someone branded and like their positioning right, and then they send them to us. We obviously do a lot with outbound. So we use LinkedIn in our own tactics, and we generate customers that way. We also do cold email as a channel for us as well. That works really well. We've been ramping up our YouTube channel with kind of LinkedIn training and everything there, and that's starting to generate some leads. And then again, like the other thing is just that have this benefit of being a thought leader for so many years and putting out my own blog and podcast, that there's also leads that come from that. But then the other final, I guess, like big thing that was really effective for us is I wrote a really strong ebook about LinkedIn lead generation, where I just gave away all of our tactics. And I basically put this out there for free on the internet. And, it was, and even on these podcasts, I don't even like ask people for their emails. I just give this away out there, and I put a ton into it. It's not like a lot of the ebooks you get where you download and you're kind of disappointed. Yeah. I literally like give away the scripts that we use, the exact frameworks, all of the tactics that we use for our service. And so I've done that, and that has just been amazing and just spread virally to where it's getting posted on like forums and places I don't even know, and in Facebook groups. So that has spread around and just kind of led to this organic inbound inquiries as well.
It's very interesting. And Jake, how many people have called you crazy for doing that and giving all this information for free?
A lot. Everyone's like, you give away too much. You should package that into a course. And I've had so many people say that, like, you should charge like for that kind of stuff and, not give away so much. But my whole belief here, and like, it kind of goes into the vision of what I'm trying to build. But my goal is to be the number one done for you LinkedIn service in the industry. And like, that is what I'm going to build. And there's a lot of people that are doing courses, they're doing like masterminds, or they're doing like training programs on LinkedIn. And that's not the space that I want to compete in. I want to compete in being the best when it comes to, we run your profile and we generate leads. Like, that is where we're trying to be strong. And so that's why I literally just give away the ideas, put all that stuff out there. And it's phenomenal for marketing for us. And I could try to package it into a course, but that's going to distract me from the core focus of what we're trying to build. Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting. And it's nice to see how clear you are on your goals and what you want to achieve with that business.
Yeah, that's it's hard to stay clear. There's a book called Traction by Gino Wickman, which goes through like a process on like building the vision of your company and kind of keeping you aligned with that. And that definitely has helped with kind of keeping that vision and getting clear on that. So, the common thing to do is just ask, like, how can you be number one in a space, and number one or number two in the industry? And if your vision is you can't achieve that, then like you're probably like not focusing on the right target or the goal or anything. So that's just kind of been one good thing that's kind of helped me kind of figure out where I want to carve out in this industry.
That's very interesting, and I'll make sure to check the book out and put it in the show notes. But yeah, I think first of all, I think it's very, very hard for a lot of companies, especially, beginner entrepreneurs. It's very hard to figure out what that goal is. What is the exact reason why they're starting a business? And what is the exact thing they want to achieve? I think it's incredibly hard to figure that out. And that's why a lot of people keep jumping, left and right and doing this and that and not really moving forward because of that.
Yeah, I think the most important thing at the start is just get people paying you money right away. Like I said, like a core learning out of that, it's just like whenever I had tried other businesses in the past where I kind of like dwelled on them for a long period of time or like planned a bunch. And with Lead Cookie, it was like, like I said, I had like the idea. I did some due diligence. I did some research. So it wasn't like, overnight just jumping on something I was super excited about. But over the course of about 3 weeks, kind of just did some research, looked at the competitive landscape, like who else is out there, like what would this look like, just try to get like a rough idea and like validate, that I at least sell myself that I think it was worth pursuing. Mm-hmm. And then I just went out and I just started selling like crazy. And I think that's like the best thing you can do because like, that's you sell and you learn and you improve and you gain so much out of those early customers. So that's the biggest thing is just get out there and sell and get those initial customers because you learned so much from that. And not all of those were successes. Some people asked for refunds. Some people canceled after 1 month. So there's like a lot of stuff we learned from those early customers, but we learned and grew as a result of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That sounds really good. And Jake, I noticed something. I remember looking at your website, at Lead Cookie website. You had this guarantee of getting people leads, qualified leads, high quality leads within 30 days, or you would refund them for it. And I was always curious, companies like yours, how can you possibly guarantee that? Like, how do you know that for sure you'll find high quality leads for, whatever business, whatever industry?
Yeah, so a big thing for us is that we only take on customers that we believe we're going to succeed with. So we basically it's almost like they're applying to work with us is really kind of what it looks like. Mm-hmm. But basically, we get probably 20 to 40 leads a week, and out of those, we're gonna actually schedule calls with maybe 5. Because what we're looking for is someone with a good value proposition who we believe will succeed with our service. And so we reject anyone who we don't think is going to succeed because basically, and that's basically ultimately how we, don't have to give out hardly any refunds is because we're only pairing with the people that are the right fit for us. And so this is just another interesting learning we've had with this, and this ties into it, but at this point, we've ran over about 85 campaigns on LinkedIn using the exact same framework of scripts. Like we're doing the same thing. All that's changing is like the messaging and the targeting. But it's like literally the same framework, the same approach to each message. And we've seen people get literally 0 results. And we've seen people just literally like telling us like, hey, we've got to like go down to 25% because I'm getting too many leads. Like it's literally like both sides of the spectrum there. And the difference is in the value proposition that someone's bringing to the market. If someone comes to us and they say, hey, we do SEO and pay-per-click for small businesses, it's like, cool. Like so does everybody. And I can't tell you how many of those leads we get. And we turn them away and we just say like, we're not going to be able to help you because you're offering the exact same thing as everybody else. But if someone comes to us and they say, hey, we're a digital marketing agency, we help, roofers, become the number one in their local market, then you've got like a value proposition that's going to resonate with people that is niche and specific. And so that is kind of what we look for is people with those strong niches. And we know that if they have that, they're almost in all cases going to succeed. We still had a few that we kind of, missed or we took some risks on, but, we're able to pretty well vet enough people to where we don't have to worry about those refunds too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's interesting to hear you explain how your clients apply to you as in, they're working with you and not just clients, and you don't take every single client who just throws money at you.
Yep, exactly. It's and I think that's a problem a lot of marketers have, and I made this mistake early on as well. Back when I was doing consulting, is it's easy to take on anybody, but you can't market something. It's like you can't polish a turd. So if you're a marketer and you get hired by a company with just a terrible value proposition, like you can't fix that unless they're willing to totally change everything. And so I made that mistake early on with my consulting when I took on just some like really generalist agencies, and then my like campaigns would fail with them. And it was just because I didn't realize like, I should have only like take on people that have these good, strong value propositions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think a lot of marketers at the beginning of their career, their experience, they're kind of desperate to prove to themselves and to the world that they can do it, right? So they'll take anyone on simply because it means that they're going to make some money and they'll be able to pay their rent for the next month, right? I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people start like that, and the ones that succeed eventually, they do niche down and they figure out that that's not the best way to go.
Yeah, it's really easy to become a marketer that just sells stuff and then you don't deliver an ROI and your customers walk away unhappy. But if you really want to succeed as a marketer, you've got to learn to structure engagements that are actually like a win-win for your customers, where they're actually seeing an ROI and value out of your service. And if you can do that, and you can get to that point where you've got that customer you can do that for regularly, you're going to have happy customers who stick around, and you're going to grow, you're going to get referrals, and just everything will be better. So, don't take the stuff where you're going to basically set yourself up to fail.
All right, that's great advice. Thank you so much for sharing, Jake. And at this point, I wanted to ask you to share some of those secret techniques that you mentioned earlier to people who want to, basically better and improve their LinkedIn profiles. Because one of the things you said, you help people get more traffic to their profiles.
Yeah, so there's three real pieces of this. The first is optimizing your LinkedIn profile. And there's a bajillion things you can do on LinkedIn that give you the full bar of add all your, college history and go through and do all of the standard stuff. But the most important pieces of your LinkedIn profile are first, your headline on LinkedIn, which a lot of people will just put president or founder or CEO or whatever of your company. If you can change that from that and make it a benefit oriented tagline, then that becomes something that hooks people in, because that headline on LinkedIn just follows you all around. So my headline is, I help B2B companies generate leads on LinkedIn via done-for-you prospecting. So that's kind of the approach that I take, and what tends to work well for me. But that's kind of the first piece, is that headline, optimizing that so that it's going to pique people's attention. The second piece of that is just getting your profile copy more interesting. And what I say is no one cares about your resume, your background, your whole life story. Instead, you want to make this kind of more of a sales page of what you do, who you serve, how you help them, and how they can contact you. So literally think about it like you're building a web page and you're trying to sell someone on your services. That's kind of the goal of what to do with that profile optimization.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
So that profile optimization is the foundation of it. And then the two tactics, there's two tactics kind of after that. And the first one that is, basically the first one is sending out connection requests and then dripping messages to those prospects. On Lead Cookie, we do a whole 4-step drip sequence with this, but if you're doing this on your own, a simple way to do this is, you need LinkedIn Sales Navigator to do this. So I should clarify that. Otherwise, you won't be able to do very much traffic at all. But you get LinkedIn Sales Navigator. You build a search queue of your target customers in there. And then you start just connecting and doing a short and sweet message saying, hey, was browsing other people that work in the e-commerce space or whatever industry you're focused on, or just kind of a short and sweet thing. I thought I'd reach out to connect. And then you put your name in there and your tagline. And that basically, like, sending out, I mean, with Sales Navigator, you can eventually send out about 100 of those connections a day. You start connecting with a lot of people, and a good number of those will accept. And the key next thing to do on LinkedIn is when someone accepts your connection, is just ask them a question to try to start a conversation. And just asking that question gets so many people talking, it gets a conversation started, and that's kind of how you can build a relationship and eventually try to nurture that into a pitch or an actual phone call.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And it's, as I see, it's like a full-blown strategy. It's not just a few edits. It's actually pretty detailed and yeah, it's a full operation, as I said.
Yeah, it's like I said, on our website, if you go to leadcookie.com/ebook, we literally give away this whole process in detail with all of our scripts and everything, and there's not even like an email for that. So if anyone's interested, like we go much deeper and even give away all the scripts and stuff there. But it's a powerful tactic. It's if you're selling B2B and your customers are other business owners or people working, in marketing or anything. It is a really phenomenal tactic to get those conversations started.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And Jake, do you think that LinkedIn as a platform, once again, is a good fit for most B2B businesses, or is it also, does it really depend on each and single industry?
I would say for most businesses, it is, a great opportunity. I mean, there's some, like certain like blue collar industries, you might have less people on there. But even there, like it's just, there's so many people on there that you still can probably get some prospects engaged on there. So, I think if you're in B2B, it is probably, your market's on there and it's worth investing in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense, I guess, because, I think we have a tendency to only look at people and profiles in our own industry. So, personally, I wouldn't be able to tell how many industries are on LinkedIn and how many people actually use that.
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, it's just growing and it's becoming more and more prevalent. So, not B2C, but B2B, I would almost say nearly anyone could find their market on there.
Yeah, awesome. All right, Jake. So, as we're approaching the end of this podcast, I wanted to ask you, what would be your biggest suggestion, that one most important thing that every beginner entrepreneur or someone who already started a business should pay the most attention to if they want to have a chance of succeeding?
Focus on sales and get paid. That is it. Like it's so easy to get distracted from other stuff or anything, but just like get your foot on the gas with sales and don't let it off, because like that keeps and fuels everything. And even a few months ago, I let my foot off the gas with sales, and it hurt, and we had to lay some people off at a period of time. So just never stop selling and sell early, because it's going to validate your idea, and then just never let go of that or just stop on that. It is the most important thing driving any aspect of your business, is just getting more customers through the door and then serving them well with integrity.
Mm-hmm. And what if you're really bad at sales?
If you're a business owner, you've got to learn sales. Like there's no way around it. Yeah, it's the harsh reality. People will try to avoid it or think they can hire a salesperson. If you're going to be a business owner, you need to learn to sell and you need to learn to market.
Awesome. That's really good advice. All right, Jack. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And for people who want to find out more about your business, where should they go?
Yeah, they can go to leadcookie.com is our main website. And if you go to leadcookie.com/ebook, that's the place where you can go to find everything there and just our tactics and strategy. And then I also do personal blogging and podcasting at jake-jorgovan.com.
All right, awesome. And right before you go, Jake, one last question. I get it. You want to give your ebook for free. You want to educate people. That's really awesome. Why not at least build an email list behind that?
So the opportunity is there, but I don't know. Internet marketing kind of annoys me at times. So I just am a believer, give it away. And I have people sharing that page and linking to it more. And even when you land on the page, actually, it says like, hey, here's the ebook. Why would I give this away for free? Because the tactics are only part of it. And what the time that it takes is what's going to lead to it. So if I were, again, trying to build an email list and sell courses, I would probably ask for the ebook. But there might be a few people from this audience that go there and they say, I don't have time to do this. Let's hire this done for you service. That's where we can kind of create value. And that's, again, my whole kind of belief on it is just focusing on doing what we do best, which is that done for you service.
Yeah. Awesome. That's a really good explanation. And I'm not going to say that I agree with you still, because I am more of an internet marketer, and, I think that's a really good way to build a list. But yeah, we don't have the same audience, and, I do sell stuff to my audience through emails. So yeah, that's why there's such a big difference. But I get it. I totally get it. And it's really awesome that you're seriously sticking to your beliefs and to your goals. So
yeah.
All right, Jake, thank you so much for taking your time and sharing your strategies, your really good strategies, your tips, and your story with the audience.
Awesome. No problem. Thanks for having me on here, Alex.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Extra Paycheck Podcast. As always, head over to extrapodcast.com/168. This is where I'll be sharing show notes and other resources mentioned in today's episode. Also, head over to extrapodcast.com/iTunes in order to follow the show on iTunes. Don't forget to leave a review and a rating. Also, head over to extrapodcast.com/Spotify in order to follow the show on Spotify. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next Monday.